happy and we're singing and we're colored. Give me a high five.
What's going on, you guys? It's your boy Joe Castro here with my guy Big Game James. You tuned into the second episode number 2 now of the Best of Enemies, and it's still the best intro in the game. I love that intro.
The best intro. I don't care what
It really
nobody
does
say.
always get me hyped. But James, what's going on, man? We talked a little bit before we got on here, but how you been, man? I have been watching your videos. You have been going hard in the scouts room, so I'm definitely excited to get this talk in. But how have you been, brother?
Hey, I've been great, man. You know what I'm saying? It's always a good talk with you. Was really excited about today. You know, I was up late last night, really this whole weekend. I just really been on the grind with my studying and the draftable players. Although it's not until April, you know, we always want to get on top of it and see, you know, what we may have out there for both of our squads we're talking about. So, you know, just like I said, been on the grind, dropped a Devin Lloyd tape, dropped a Nakobe Dean tape, going to look at some offensive linemen. So, hey, man, I can't lie, man. The draft always gets me excited. Getting new players, seeing new players come into the building, into the organization is always an exciting thing, and always to guess who may go where is always a fun thing. So I'm hyped, bro.
Yeah, I love the draft time. Like, it's, you know, obviously you want to see your teams playing in this moment, right? But if not, this is the best time outside of the actual regular season, is getting to see these young guys come up, and you get to see kind of the change of the guards. Because, you know, the first thing I want to talk about, obviously we're going to get into kind of just the news going around the NFL right now, but we're seeing, you know, Hall of Famers and Ben Roethlisberger retire, or, you know, maybe Tom Brady isn't retired. Who knows what's going on right now with him? But what are your initial reactions just to all these retirements? Did anybody really shock you, and just how you feeling about this week so far?
My feeling, if you want the truth, it's about time.
Yeah.
It's about time. Like, it's time for the new guys. It's time for the changing of the guard. You know, I've seen a lot of football since the 70s, and I've seen guys come in who had Hall of Fame careers, and then when there's time to go, it's their time to go. And you know, I can definitely salute Brady's a GOAT. Like, and everybody oversells that word, uses it way too much to too many people. In my opinion, everybody ain't no daggone GOAT. But this dude is an official. I mean, we saw where he came from. I got to see him a lot at Michigan because I was out here in Ohio. So I got to see his career really start at Michigan, and he was battling with Drew Henson back in the day. And that's what's crazy, because Drew Henson was a quarterback for Dallas, and he was the who's who guy, and Brady was battling with him. And nobody was ever talking about Brady being anything in the NFL. And to see him really not be thought of afterthought in the draft to do what he's done is crazy, and it's amazing. Especially, I gave him the GOAT status because I said, you know what? He did all that in New England. Let me see him go somewhere else and do the same thing, because I said Montana was still the GOAT to me, big dog, because he left the Niners, went to the Chiefs, and he didn't get to the Super Bowl, but he took him to the championship, and I felt like that's GOAT status when you can do that.
Yeah.
So for him to leave, and I don't care if the team was all the way put together and he had to play pieces, you still had to win those games. They went through some turbulent times in Tampa Bay, but they still got the chip. So he's definitely the GOAT. Ben Roethlisberger, I saw him at Miami of Ohio because, like I said, I've been out here in Ohio, so I got to see him up and close and intently when he came out of Miami of Ohio. Great player. The one thing I knows about Ben, I think his off-field stuff really tainted him, and that's why maybe I feel kind of weird about him, and I think that's really a stigma. A lot of people feel that way about him. His off-field really stained him about what happened and what he did, or what he was supposedly accused of. So I think that leaves a damper. But if we're talking about just football, the biggest thing I remember about Ben Roethlisberger was that dude was like 6'5", 250 something pounds, and you could not tackle that dude. Like, that dude would get out of so many sacks. It was pathetic. I was like, how can you not bring this dude down? Like, he could move in that pocket for as big as he was, and you could not bring him down, and he could make those throws. So kudos to his career. It got him a Super Bowl. So, hey, shout outs to you. He got a couple Super Bowls, didn't he?
Yeah, he got a couple of them. Didn't he get one in his rookie year? He got one in his rookie year, and one down the line as well.
Yeah, he got one down the line. So shout outs for everything he's done on the field, and both of those guys. Like I said, it's time. You know, when we saw Phillip Rivers, Drew Brees, when we saw Peyton Manning's, when we saw those guys, Aaron Rodgers may be behind them on the way. It was a great era to see those guys play some really good football.
Yeah, and the Eagles had to go through a retirement of their own. Obviously, Brandon Brooks did retire. He's not, There's no question about it like there is with Brady right now. But I agree with you 100%. I think it's about time for a lot of these guys, simply because now we know we have a Burrows, we know we have a Patrick Mahomes, a Josh Allen, and there's other guys that you can make arguments for, Justin Herbert. There's a lot of very good young quarterbacks, and I think it is time. I'm glad to see. Look, I live in Tampa, right? I told people that all the time. I do live in Tampa. Yesterday was Gasparilla. It was like a big thing. And I was out there and I was, looking at my phone and I'm like, wait, Brady just retired. So I'm over here talking junk to every person I can find within like a 30, foot radius, because he not only came to a team and brought them a championship, he came to a city and became the city. Like that's GOAT level beyond just like with Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan like transcended the game. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, that's kind of what I saw with Brady. Brady came out here and everybody was just, whether it's, you're probably going to get in a championship game or, close to, or they just love the guy. Like he became Tampa. It was crazy. Like they literally changed their logo and had him like superimposed on a lot of t-shirts. And you see that all around. Like it's crazy how he just took over the city. But with that being said, obviously those GOATs go on. Who do you think's next? Who do you think's going to step up next and be the, the guy? Because, I do like Josh Allen. I think Patrick Mahomes is just going to take over at this point. I think it's just Patrick Mahomes' Super Bowl to lose every year. But who do you feel is going to be that guy, moving forward, or those guys, I should say?
I think you mentioned them. I think I'm going to keep Kyler Murray at bay right now because he's still young and he's still kind of in between. I'm still kind of a little suspect on him, but he does have the ability. He has rare ability, especially with that scrambling. Lamar Jackson is a guy I still like as well. I'm not super crazy. I think he still needs to get better with his passing, but he's that dynamic that he poses running and passing. And you've seen how the team played totally different when they didn't have him playing. So I think he's a guy too. But just like you said, it's Pat Mahomes and everybody else. The dude is unreal, man, and I love watching him. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's a guy I probably will hate later on, maybe about 10 years down the line when he's scooping up championships left and right. And I'm like, man, somebody beat this dude. I'm tired of seeing Pat Mahomes every single year. You know what I'm saying? But right now, he's the darling, and it's fun to see. But after you start smacking teams for a while and you start going that Super Bowl a lot or competing for a lot, nobody want to see you there no more. So right now, I'm cool, but I'm sure in about a few years, I'm be like, man, somebody stop this dude. You know what I'm saying? I'm tired of seeing him every single year. And Andy Reid, credit to him, man. He's like the quarterback whisperer. Like they said, he's the only guy to get five straight NFC championships, and now he's went to the AFC and got 4 straight AFC championships. People got to give that dude his credit. But Mahomes and everybody else, I really like Justin Herbert. I liked him at Oregon. I saw him at the Senior Bowl. A lot of people slept on him. I liked him when he was at Oregon. I said he was going to be a ball player. So Justin Herbert's a player I like. So I think the NFL is in good hands. I love some Joe Burrow. Going to watch him today. I love Joe Burrow because he reminds me of a young Joe Montana. Doesn't have all the great physical traits and attributes, but the dude just wins.
Yeah. And like I said, it ties into the draft because now we see all these guys able to come. And I feel like, honestly, it's going to start to balance out the league because I think there needs to be some parity. Like you said, at a point, it was just like we are saying that it could be with Patrick Mahomes moving forward. It was Tom Brady and then everybody else. It was who's going to play the Patriots in the Super Bowl. So I feel like there'll be, at least for the next couple of years, there'll probably be some parity because you're going to get that, kind of adjustment of rosters. Because if you look at the Green Bay Packers, they might go from being a perennial contender to absolute trash. Yeah, they might be absolute garbage next year. So like you look at their coaching staff, obviously you look at, the big question is Aaron Rodgers and his wide receiver, but even beyond that, it's like, whoa. And you look at the Saints, same thing can be said about that. So I feel like there's going to be a lot of teams that were always just kind of penciled in, you know what I'm saying, as one of those playoff teams that now we don't know. We really don't know. But I did want to bring up the Saints for a reason. Because I know that, Sean Payton obviously just decided to move on from the Saints, right? He said, y'all looking crazy. Their cap space is crazy. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I kind of understand his philosophy. Let me get out of here while I
get out of here right now because it's over.
There? You say that again?
I was just saying, let me get out of here. We like 80 billion over the cap. Let me bail out now. You know what I'm saying? I've already talked about it. I said that, everybody was screaming the same thing about Mike McCarthy, and now everybody's trying to sour on him, but people forget Mike McCarthy was smacking the Dallas Cowboys for all these years left and right. And we say, oh, we need somebody like that. And then we get somebody like that, and then he doesn't produce. And now we're like, oh, let's get a Sean Payton. To me, it's just Jerry Jones trying to reel in the fans once again, like he always does. And it's a great headline story to keep the Cowboys fans right there so you don't go nowhere, because possibly Sean Payton could be on the horizon. He retired. Mike McCarthy could be a lame duck coach for 2022, and then he comes in. Only thing I'm gonna say really with the differences and the positives moreover of Payton than Mike McCarthy, I think he's a little bit more a better offensive guy, offensive scheming guy. I think he's I think Mike McCarthy relates to the players, but I think Sean Payton is that guy that really gets into it with the players. We've seen all those daggone games after the game is over. He's dancing with the players, doing the little shuffle. Players like that, and I think players like playing for him. And I also think he has a little bit more cojones than Mike McCarthy. If Kellen Moore was still the coordinator, I think he would have stepped in and be like, no, we're not doing that. I'm taking over, and we're going to do it this way. So I think he'll have, if it were ever to happen, or the differences or the connections, those would be. And plus, he was in the building with Jerry Jones for 3 years, so they have that thought pattern. And when you heard Jerry Jones talk about Sean Payton just a few days ago, it was glowingly, glowingly. So I don't know how you can't connect those dots if Mike McCarthy doesn't get to a Super Bowl with the Dallas Cowboys in 2022.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. I know it's been something that you guys, I mean, I don't want to say you guys in general, but a lot of my friends that follow the Cowboys have always kind of had that in the, you know what I'm saying? That's always been a
they've been talking about
here.
Yeah, it's always been in the air for us ever since he left. And then when Bill Parcells was there, and they're saying he could potentially been the coach, he went somewhere else. And they even said there was an article in 2019 he was all but the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys, but Anthony Davis kind of wrecked it because the Saints owner owned the New Orleans Pelicans, and Davis decided to go to the Lakers, and he couldn't lose two big profile players. So Peyton signed. So he's always had that connection. I don't see how he doesn't come to Dallas, especially with Jerry Jones going to turn 80 years old next year. And if Mike McCarthy doesn't do it, do you really think an 80-year-old coach is going to take the time to look for somebody else? No, he's going to win. He's going to win now. So what's the 1 + 1? 2, that equals Peyton. So I don't see where anybody else, or they go any other route if Mike McCarthy doesn't do it.
I respect that. Now let's hop into the draft a little bit, because you did do some great videos. Everybody should go watch them about Nakobe Dean. You talked about Devin Lloyd. I've been talking about the differences between these two guys, right? I'll say it right out the bat.
Tell me your difference. I want to hear.
I won't be too shy about it. I personally like Devin Lloyd over Nakobe Dean.
Ooh,
I think that
why?
I do.
Tell me why.
I like Nakobe Dean, and it's not like one of those like I think he's way better. If you get
no,
Nakobe,
I ain't even hating. I want you to tell me why you like Devin Lloyd, because I'm gonna tell you why I don't like Devin Lloyd.
Definitely. So I see Devin Lloyd as more of what we need right now. We need a pass coverage guy. I think he's better at that right now than a Nakobe Dean is, and I think that even looking forward, I think that Nakobe Dean has a high ceiling. So I don't want to make it sound like I don't think he does. I think that Devin Lloyd is more all around right now. And I think he can only get better, in my opinion. I think that Nakobe Dean will get you 10 sacks a year, probably right off the bat. Like if you allow him to, allow him to just come off the edge, or, go up the and just be that missile, he can do that very, very well. And I think that's great. But I just like what Nakobe Dean is right now. And I think that he would fit into my defense better than a Nakobe Dean would. I would have to, excuse me. Yeah, Lloyd. I think I would have to make a position for Nakobe Dean on my defense. Whereas I just think that Devin Lloyd fits what we need to do, what we're trying to do at the very least. So that's where I don't think it's a huge difference. Like, I don't think that Nakobe Dean's like a second round pick or anything like that. Right. But if it's at 15 and you're telling me you got Devin Lloyd or Nakobe Dean there, I would probably lean towards Devin Lloyd, to be honest. That's where I'm at. I think they're both great players. I just look at the size. I look at, I look at the little things. I'm nitpicking when it comes down to it, if I'm being real. But I just like I said, where Devin Lloyd is right now as an all-around player. And I feel like we can grow him even more, because we have an 18-year, or like a 38-year-old, I think, linebackers coach. He's very young, very young. So I want to give him something that's a little bit more put together than something he's going to have to figure out, if that makes sense.
Oh, it definitely makes sense. But here's the thing. I like what you're going with taking Lloyd, because I don't want that, because this is what I
Exactly.
feel about Lloyd. I feel like he probably would be ready-made for your team because of the coverage. I do agree. I don't think Nakobe Dean is bad in coverage. I do
No.
think that he is more advanced right now, Devin Lloyd, in coverage. I think his transition between the fluidity of the hips is a little bit more smoother than Dean. Dean, to me, is more the instinctual player, more so than
Yeah.
a Devin Lloyd. His instincts to be able to see the play, get onto the play quickly, and to be able to, he keeps his hands very active. The thing that I was backing off from Lloyd, because when I watched a lot of his games, yes, he had a lot of tackles, but they weren't a lot of tackles behind the line of scrimmage. They were after the line of scrimmage. And we already had a player like that in Dallas that was getting a lot of tackles, but they were after the line of scrimmage. They were impactful tackles. And I also seen that when offensive linemen getting their hands on Devin Lloyd, he's out the pocket. He's out the play.
Yeah.
And I don't see a lot of physicality from him. And that's what I don't want, because you already got an LVE in the building that's 6'3", 255 pounds, and is not a physical player. So you don't need that. And you already got a guy in Jabril Cox who's going to be coming back who's already good in coverage. So you need a guy who's going to be at a high tackle rate, a guy who can really see those plays and be able to get tackles for loss, get behind the line of scrimmage, be able to blitz, and be able to free up Michael Parsons and be able to allow him to do. So, yes, I agree with you. Devin Lloyd, to me, is more ready-made for what you're trying to do. And Nakobe Dean, in my opinion, is better for what the Cowboys are trying to do as far as their linebacking core. Because if you can get a Jabril Cox all the way back, and then you can throw a Dean in there along with a Michael Parsons, you got speed on speed. You got super instincts, which I really love. That's the biggest thing that steps out with Dean and me, to me, is his instincts. And with those instincts, you can get a lot of tackles, and it's going to free a lot of things. So, yeah, I just think that they're on. If you look at those wavelengths, they're best for those. And if you were to flop them, I don't think they would be good fits, in my opinion, with Devin Lloyd being in Dallas. That's why I wouldn't pick him in the first round.
And I will say, I don't think what we try to do with our linebackers is necessarily a smart thing. So if they pick Nakobe Dean with the idea of we're not going to just hold our linebackers back, because last year that's kind of what our problem was, in my opinion, is that we didn't have. But if you put in a Devin Lloyd, to me, he's a top end pass coverage guy, especially when you look at the guys that we have. Like, you put him in there, he's going to give you an instant impact, and he's going to be way better than a TJ Edwards, than a Davion Taylor, especially trying to hold them back. Now, if you're trying to blitz, we already have guys that can do that. I think that Alex Singleton, while he hasn't been great, he's shown that he can get into the backfield. So it's all about how you utilize these guys. And I think that you said that perfectly, because Nakobe Dean fits what you guys want to do, right? You guys want to attack. You guys want to get in the backfield. Right now, I don't feel that's what we want to do with our linebackers. So I think you take who's best at what you want to do. So I think that's a good point there, though, because like that's what a lot of people get, kind of hung up on. I don't think it's, especially in this draft, I don't think that there's a huge drop off really until maybe like the third round. I don't think that there's like one player that's just, oh my God, he's way, 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 way better than everybody else.
Right.
I think that they're all very, very good at certain things. They're very certain type of players. So I think we can go through these. And I think I saw you talking about Channing Tyndale from Georgia.
Oh yeah, I like him,
bro.
I like him.
Yes.
I like
it's
him.
funny.
I
I started my I know I'm kind of rambling now, but I started my top 5 linebackers, right? And I haven't had the time to keep finishing them. But my number 5 guy was Channing Tyndale, and I even said, to me, he's like an early second. I really can see him going that high. Maybe he sneaks in the first. I kind of doubt it, but early second, and you're getting a steal. Like, I think that a lot of Georgia guys are kind of buried on that roster. But I want to know what you think about Channing Tyndale, because you're one of the first people that actually have brought him up, and I was excited when I saw it, because I was like, oh yes, let's go.
I like him. You know what I'm saying? Because I was watching Nakobe Dean, and that other dude, I was like, this number 41 keep jumping off at the screen at me, dog, because when you see him standing next to Dean, you can see the size difference off the rip. I mean, he's huge. He's big. The only problem with him right now is that I feel like he's just got to get more experience. He's not the best in coverage right now as far as his reaction. His instincts are a little bit slow to diagnose the plays here and there. But I feel like the more experience he gets, and he gets a really good defensive coach that can really coach him up, then you can really see that. Now, that size, 6'2", 235 pounds, and he can take on blockers. He can take on offensive linemen, and he can hit them and he can shed them. And one thing I love about this dude, he's not Micah Parsons when I say this, but when he sees where it's going, that closing speed gets up on
It's
you
crazy.
quick, and he's violent, and I love it. And that's the type of player I would love the Cowboys to get. Like, I already had him in my mock draft picked in the second. I did like 3 mock draft simulators, and I picked him every single time in that second round, dog. Because, yeah, he could probably, he's a second-day player, and he's going to be playing in the Senior Bowl, and I'm going to get to watch him up close, and I'm excited for that. But, dog, he just oozes with potential. And with him, Micah Parsons, and Jabril Cox, because he's that physical player that LVE is not. He's that thumper that he is not. Now, he's not great in coverage, but you got Jabril Cox that you can slide in there. But he is going to get in there and make tackles. He is going to be violent. He is going to get them running backs on the ground, and he can really attack that quarterback if you send him on blitzes as well. I like him. I like him a lot. I can't front, and I really like to see if you don't get a Nakobe Dean, bruh, I would be jumping for joy if you scooped him in a later round.
Yeah, and I was looking at my notes because, like I said, I did a whole video about this kid, so I was excited when I saw that. But the boy, man, I don't know, and I think that this is this is what I'm trying to get across to a lot of people is I think this draft is the draft. You have to look at what you have and say who's going to allow what I have to grow even more, because you might not get that guy that's going to be a game change. You're not going to get a Micah Parsons in this draft. I just really don't see it. I might be wrong. But I feel like you have to find somebody that's going to allow what you have to be even better. And that's, you look at a Devin Lloyd, you look at a Channing Tyndale, you look at some of these defensive, linemen. There's so much versatility in these groups. There really is, because you can even go deeper in the linebacking group. I don't know if you've looked at a guy like Brandon Smith from Penn State, but
yeah, I've seen him.
Uber athletic. Like,
only thing I don't like about him though, big dog, he's super athletic, but he has underperformed in his whole career. That's what scares me. Those players like that are boom and bust, and those are the players that worry me because he's super athletic, got all the traits, but he hasn't played to him. And I wonder if you got a contract, would you get? You know what I'm saying? Because those factor in with me with money, things of that nature. If you were already underachieving in college, what happens when you get a contract? Are you going to have the motivation, things of that nature? I think you got to really sit down in meetings with him and really pick his brain, because I didn't mean to cut you off, big dog, but I love his athletic ability too. But underperforming at the way he did in college and didn't really meet his full potential, that causes pauses in my eyes.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I think that's why a lot of times I'm seeing him in the third round. I'm seeing him in the middle of the third round. And I think it is the question of not just like, his mentality, but the inconsistencies on the field, like you said. So I think that we were utilizing him a little bit wrong, but at the same time, we were one of the best defenses in the country. So I can't, when we had our quarterback and games actually mattered to them, I feel we were one of the better defenses out there. And he was a big part of that. But if he can show, like you said, if you can sit down and chop it up with him in a room and you can see that this kid wants to learn and he wants to grow, I think once he tests, people are going to be like running all over him because he's got everything. He's got the size, got the speed. He can do a little bit of everything. I don't think you can put him on the line like you could a Micah Parsons,
right?
But you can probably put him in more coverage situations than you can right off the bat with Micah Parsons. I'll say that much. I don't think he's better in coverage, but he can handle a little bit more than maybe a Micah Parsons can just because of that speed. But so I really like the linebacking group right now. I think that there's talent.
Quay Walker's another guy that was on the Georgia Bulldogs as well. He's 6'4".
Trayvon. Oh my God. Love that guy.
And like they got a lot of backers, you know what I'm saying? So there's some sneaky guys you can get. So I know how much they're talking with Dean, but when I look at some of these other guys, you can maybe slide in that middle round. I get excited that you can scoop one of them guys, get an offensive lineman and maybe a receiver, because I did a few mock drafts before we got here, big dog. I kind of like my first three round mock drafts, if you really want to ask.
So, I mean, well, let's ask that. Let's ask that. What were you looking at?
I got two of them for you. Let me get two. I felt really good about that. I liked. Okay, so my first one, I did like 3 of these, but my first 2 kept coming, kind of falling like this. So, my first round pick on 24th, I took Darian Canard from Kentucky. Now he's a tackle, but I think he's going to play guard. The main reason why I took him was, and check this out. The main reason why I took him is because I really wanted Kenyon Green. Kenyon Green was taken multiple times before, and that's who I really wanted. But I feel like Darian Canard is a slippy, sneaky guy. He's 6'4", 340 pounds. He's a big dude, and you can slide him at guard as well. I don't think he's going to be a tackle on the pros, and I think he's got a lot of upside. So I scooped him in that first round. Then we came back in the second round. I got Tyndale. I seen him, and I was like, I don't know. It could be a reach because you could probably maybe get him in the third and maybe in the real life. But I was like, I don't want to lose that. You feel me? I don't want to take the chance. So I just went ahead and scooped him, and I said, we'll just go on potential. And then in the third round, I came with Skye Moore, receiver from Western Michigan. Guy had like 95 receptions, over 1,200 yards receiving. Dude is like a 4'2", 4'3" guy, and that's what we need, about 5'10", 195 pounds. I said, this is the type of receiver, body build, speed we need. We need somebody underneath who can take the top off defenses because you already got a CeeDee Lamb. You got a Amari Cooper. You don't know when a Michael Gallup's coming back, but you never really had no speed to really take the top off the defense. Somebody could throw on the slant and take it on the go. Somebody can hit on the 9 right and go. That's what the Cowboys need. And so right there, that's where I went with those. And if you say my other one, it was pretty much the same, but I took Kenyon Green in the first, Skye Moore in the second because I didn't want to lose him, and I took Quay Walker in the third. So if you still see where I'm going, I'm trying to stay with the guard. I want to hit a receiver, and I like to get a linebacker in those first 3 picks.
I'm glad that you brought up Kenyon Green and that you brought up Damian Kenyon, or Danian. I can't even say his name. Either way, I've been looking those guys up. So it's funny that you even bring those guys up. Let me bring up my notes on that real quick. It's funny that you bring them up because I do like Kenyon Green as well. So let me talk about my draft, and I'll tell you why I was looking these guys up. So my first pick, I had Kenyon Green at number 15. I had the Eagles going ahead and getting Kenyon Green. Reason I did that is because I do believe he's, going to be probably the best guard in the draft. He dropped to number 15. It didn't happen much. I will be honest with you. Like, this was one of those that it was like, I'm kind of surprised. I'm just going to take him. Hey, he's there. I would love to see him on the Eagles. We just lost Brandon Brooks. I do believe Jack Driscoll can take that spot. I do believe that there's guys on this offensive line that can, give us what we'll be losing in Brandon Brooks. And if we lose Jason Kelce, I even feel comfortable not drafting a lineman, but I know that it's something that we probably are going to be scratching our itch to do. You know what I'm saying? So he can play basically every position except for center is what I keep on hearing. So I went with Kenyon Green. I'll take Kenyon Green all day, every day. And then I went with David Ajabu.
Yeah.
I like David Ajabu.
That's a good pick, dog.
Yeah, I like David Ajabu. I will say this because I'm always a pessimist and I have to be a pessimist. So the only one knock I'll say on him is that I don't know if he's there yet. And I don't know if I trust our defensive lineman coach to develop him to where he needs to be. I think he has, nothing but potential. I think he can be amazing. And I'm sure you've done more research on him than I have. So I would love to get your opinion on him as a player. But just from what I see, from what I hear about, what I read, what I'm able to watch, it just feels like he still has to be developed. He hasn't played a lot of football. So I don't know if we have the coaching staff that can develop him, but that's more on us than him. I think he deserves to go at that spot. But how do you feel about David Ajabu? Because I know you probably watch him a little bit more than I do.
Oh, I like him a lot. Actually, my guy, Okoye, he was talking about him. And, you talked about the Hutchinson kid on the opposite side and what he did. And this was this first year of him really turning up and getting him some real tick. So he's super green. But one thing that Okoye told me was his 0 to 20 yards, was as fast as almost like Devin Hester in his top speed. So he was talking about that. And then when I watch him, like, yes, he's super green, but bro, he's super fast. He's strong. He's got great size, and I feel like he oozes upside, dog.
Yeah.
Just get him some good coaching. If he gets some good coaching, that's a steal because you look at like he ain't really done nothing out there because of he's like, oh, he could be a 1-year wonder, but he's a guy that I don't feel could be the 1-year wonder. I feel like if you get him some good coaching, he's a sneaky pick. He offers a lot of upside. I think he'll be good in the run game eventually, but dog, him coming off that edge, that first step and that quickness that he brings to the table, bro, you can't teach that.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, it's like the size, speed. It was just it. He pops off the tape. Like it's no, you can't deny that he's there, right? Like there's no not seeing David Ajabu on play. So he would be a steal. And like I said, he does deserve to go there. The only thing that worries me is my own house. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if we have the coaching staff that I really trust. Like I thought we talked about this earlier on in the season, right? I thought our coaching staff, or I mean, excuse me, our defensive line was going to kind of be the marquee of our defense.
Right.
And it wasn't even close. So, we'll see what happens. But I would love to get him there if we're able to, develop him. I agree 100%. I think he's going to be a steal. Then I went with Devin Lloyd at number 19. I do believe Nakobe Dean was already taken either way, so it wasn't really a either or there. I just took Devin Lloyd because he is my favorite and he was there. Then I took David Bell. I took David Bell in the second round. Big boy, just a big target. We've been talking about getting a big target. If I'm being 100% honest, would I do this in real life? Yes, I would, because if you want a wide receiver that bad, I'm cool with waiting until the second round. There's a lot of good wide receivers. I think David Bell has a lot of upside. He's big, not the fastest in the world, but he's got some speed on him. He's just basically a J-Jaw that can catch, and I feel like they want that so bad. He's definitely going to be an outside receiver, so I went ahead with David Bell. And then I took Brandon Smith with my third round pick because obviously we have like 45 picks in this draft. So, yeah, I went with Brandon Smith in the third round. Just because I think he's one of those guys that either might take a year or a couple years to develop, and you know what I'm saying, you work on that, or he's somebody that you can kind of. We drafted a guy named Jacoby Stevens, had him on the show, awesome dude, but he started as a safety, and once he was in LSU, he started as a safety, came down to Philly, and he was only meeting with our linebackers coach. You know what I'm saying? So, like, it seems we try to take those guys and kind of make them tweeners, make them guys that can play both sides. So he's a guy that I feel like you can make him a coverage guy a couple times if you're going nickel or something like that. So I took a shot on Brandon Smith. So at the end of the day, it's all about
that's not a bad shot. If I look at how you did your draft, I'm not hating on your draft at all. Like I said, if you got a Green, a Kenyon Green, you got a Devin Lloyd, and who else did you scoop in the first round?
David Ajabu.
Davis, bro, like to me, if you got a David Ajabu, if you got a Devin Lloyd for what you're talking about for your needs, and then you still got a Devin Lloyd, and you come back and get the big boy receiver, and then you scoop another linebacker and Brandon Smith, I'm not mad at your draft right now. I wouldn't hate on your draft. I would feel like, okay, that's a pretty good draft because you're meeting a lot of areas, especially your linebackers. You need backers. I told you that in our first show, y'all needed backers more than anything. If you get a Brandon Smith and a Devin Lloyd, both of them 6'3", both of them can cover. You can probably attack more with the Brandon Smith, but you got a guy who can do everything in Devin Lloyd. You go ahead and get that big mauler in after a guy retiring. I think Kenyon Green is going to end up being one of the best guards in this draft. You look at him; he's an attacking, athletic guy. He will get after you. He's played multiple positions down the line of scrimmage, which is helpful because he's played left, right, and
he kind of reminds me of a Brooks, kind of, to be honest.
So he's very versatile. And I know one thing about Philly, y'all like moving your guys and playing them in multiple positions. Y'all like playing that offensive line like that. So, yeah, I wouldn't be mad at that draft. And if you talk about both of us, and the guy for the people in the chat, I don't think we did too bad in our first three picks. If you look at how we did it and what we're talking about, if I'm the Cowboys and I walk away and I got a Darian Canard and I got a Tyndale and I got a Skye Moore, I got my deep threat guy. I got my attacking linebacker that can really stop that run game and really stuff the run and where it can be violent and be able to let Micah still be able to roam. And then I got my big beefy guard. If you don't move Aleo Collins, the left guard, I got my guy that you can plug right in with Connor Williams leaving, and then you can keep it moving on your next picks after that. But I don't feel too bad at that as well.
Yeah, I think this is a good, especially offensive line, because I know you focused on the defensive line. I kind of focused on the offensive, which it kind of worked out perfectly how we did that, because there was things I wanted to talk to you about the guys you were looking up, and you were bringing up Kenyon Green. So I did obviously look up Kenyon Green. I was looking up Tyler. I just looked up the top three guys that I felt could drop to us that I would like. And I even brought up the Darian Canard guy. I mean, 6'5", 345, like that's crazy.
That's huge, crazy, bro, like, and he plays like that.
Yeah. Yeah, he definitely needs some work. Obviously, like, I was talking about hand placement, some technique issues, but he's just nasty. One of the things I put is like, he's nasty once he has you. Once he has his hands on you, you're basically done, and that's what you want in the NFL. So, I mean, I'm excited. I think that you can't go wrong. I really do. I feel like you look at our drafts, we have obviously like 5 picks in the first 3 rounds, but you guys have your 3. There's going to be talent there,
There's going to be talent.
The question I want to ask you, because we've been talking about Nakobe Dean, we've talked about Devin Lloyd, we haven't talked too much about Christian Harris. How do you feel about Christian Harris? Do you think, because I feel like he's going way under the radar. I really do think that he should be in that conversation of one of those 3 guys. I personally really do believe that. But how do you feel about him?
Christian Harris, he's the
Alabama linebacker.
Okay. I've seen just a little bit on him. I'm going to keep it real. So I'm not going to jump out there and say I know everything about him. I've been looking at some other guys. I'll probably have to look at him today and talk to him tomorrow. Talk next week about him, because I ain't going to sit on here and say, oh, yeah, blah, 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 blah. And I ain't seen nothing about that. So I ain't going to lie to kick it. So I got to really look at him during this week. And then next week when we talk, and I'm going to be like, all right, now, remember when you told me about the Alabama? Oh, that's when we come.
I think you're going to like him.
I'm going to check him out because I had already seen him, but I hadn't really just focused on him. But I'm definitely going to check him out today, because I'm looking at a lot of linebackers, honestly, this week, because it's not we got to get 50 linebackers, but with LVE, I don't know if he's coming back. I know they're going to offer him a contract, but I know he's going to want some money. I don't know if that Keanu Neal thing is going to work. Jabril Cox is working back from an ACL. Luke Gifford is was a undrafted free agent. So you really don't have nobody in the building. You feel me? So that's why I'm really heavily looking at it. But I'm definitely going to take a look at him this week.
Yeah, and I mean, we both sitting here talking about Devin Lloyd and Nakobe Dean. With our luck, they'll go in the top 10, each, like, and our whole board is going to be thrown off, because that's the type of. Now, let me ask you something before we open it up. So everybody in the chat, shout out to y'all. We're at about 40 minutes. We got 30 people in here. Be sure to hit that like, hit that subscribe. We are going to be on both channels starting next week. So that's going to be awesome. It's going to be fun. It's going to be interesting to see the chat. I think that's going to be the most funny part, and most fun part. But right now, you guys ask any questions you want. We'll start answering some questions. But I do want to ask you a question. Is this a year that you think that there's going to be a name that drops? Do you realistically think that a Nakobe Dean might drop to the Cowboys? Because I'll say yes. I will say yes right now. I do think it could happen. Do you think that's something?
Yeah, I definitely think it could happen. The main reason why I definitely think it can happen is because, remember, I watched Nick Bolton last year from Missouri. Everybody was high on Nick Bolton. He was the darling of linebackers. Everybody was saying he was an instant first round. He wasn't dropping. I watched his tape. I like Nick Bolton. I liked him a lot. But I said, I think he's going to go in the second. I think he's going to slip to the second. And that's what he did. He slipped to the second round to the Kansas City Chiefs, and they are happy as hell to have some Nick Bolton right now. He'll be playing today. You feel me? So I definitely feel, and the main reason why I say that he could fall is because not a lot of people, but they're mentioning his short arms. He has the short arms, and he's only 6 foot. Maybe we'll see at his full measurements at the NFL Combine or whatever he does. If he's a true 6 foot, because if he's like a 5'11" or anything like that, that's going to knock him down. 5'11" and some 3/4 and short arms, no matter what speed you have, they're going to be talking about the offensive linemen getting their hands on you not being able to break their hands off you, with you having shorter arms, and they can basically control you better. So yes, those things right there could definitely knock him down to the Cowboys, because right now they're living off of what they saw in that championship game and during the season. That's what he's the hot name, but that can always drop with a few measurements dropping down or something like that. So I can definitely see that happening, and it's going to be interesting to watch to see if he does fall. But as I said before, Georgia, y'all got some good backers. So if Dean don't fall there, I won't be like, dang, because I've seen some other guys that can still fit Cowboys' needs on that backer position.
Yeah, I said it last week. And I don't think you fully knew what I meant by this, but I said, you give me the whole Georgia defense this year, I'm good with it.
You're right, dog.
All the way. They are so deep, bro. They're so deep on defense. Deep. It's scary.
Deep.
Yeah, it's scary. But let's get into some questions, man. Carlos Holloway, what's going on? I know he's a big fan of both channels, huge supporter. That's my guy. He said, question, do y'all think the receiver from Alabama, I'm thinking Jameson Williams is who he's talking about, from Alabama, is going to fall since he got injured. Have you been able to watch him at all?
I watched him, and he's good. He's real good, and he's got good size. Now that's what's kind of funny because he just tore the ACL in the championship game. The rehab. Because I've seen a lot of mock drafts, him still not kind of dropping out of that first round because of how good he is. I think he still may go in that first round. The lowest will be an early second. And it would only be because of the ACL. But I think he's so good, somebody might just be like, you know what, we're gonna bank on you still playing early in the season, so we're still gonna go ahead and take you. So I don't imagine him falling crazy like the 30th or something like that, because he was just so good. But people look at that injury and wonder, could you ever be the same? And so that might be the pause. So I'm kind of half and half. I don't know how you feel about it, Joe, but I'm kind of half and half in it because you don't know what a player is going to come back after an ACL, but surgery is different and guys come back. But I don't know if the guys, whoever drafts him, wants to play him right away. So I think that's what's going to really see. If a team wants somebody to play it right away, then he drops. But if somebody's like, yeah, we want to develop him, but we still need a guy like that, then that's why I can see him going like maybe an 18th to between the 18th to 30th round.
Yeah, honestly, I think that this year the draft is there's a lot of wide receivers in this draft and a lot of guys that you can plug and play and a lot of guys that are very good. I think that Jameson Williams before the injury was one of the top guys. I don't think that's, much of a debate. I think we all knew that, but this is one of those years, somebody that was kind of on the fringe, they might take over him just because, like you said, they might want to see him play right away. And I don't think that there's a huge drop off with some of these players. So only way I see him dropping out of the first round is if, teams like you said, I hate to, kind of say the exact same thing, but if they want to see the guy right off the bat, it is what it is. Like he just can't provide that. If he goes to a team that's going to be patient with him, that's going to be scary. And if he drops past 18, it's even better for him.
They're going to get a stick.
Exactly. And once he gets on that field, he's going to obviously, hopefully a better team. But I mean, we'll see what happens. I don't think he drops out of the first round. I think, like you said, I'd be really surprised to see him even get to the end of the first round. But it definitely could happen. And I think that's the only reason why it would. Now, Dank Burrito said, why wouldn't you look for another Parsons? Because I know
there's not another one.
There's
not another one. There's no Micah Parsons in this draft. Like, not to me. There's not no guy like him. You just don't find those type of players. I mean, he's to me almost like I ain't gonna say generational, but dog, what he's doing, and I think he's gonna continue to do and get better. You just don't see that. So yeah, you want to find another person, but you want somebody that can play off of Micah Parsons. You feel me? That's why I was hurt that Jabril Cox got hurt, because I feel like he can play off of Micah Parsons, because what Micah Parsons wasn't great at in coverage, although he damn sure wasn't bad. That's what Jabril Cox is. So that's where you can see them flowing off each other. So I don't want the one of the same, but that's why I do like the Tyndale kid, because he's the physical linebacker that the Cowboys need. He has the physical size and the physical measurements, and he plays to it. It's not that he just sits there. He plays to that size, and he's a good blitzer. So I'm gonna keep it real. I like Dean, but that dude keeps coming in my head, big dog. He just keep coming in my head. He's keep good, coming in my head. I don't know. And I feel like he get more experience. And plus with Dan Quinn coming back, that's huge. Dan Quinn coming back and signing a multi-year deal. So that's saying that he's going to be in the fold for a little bit. So now the defensive guys can feel better and have a rest, like, a fresher breath there, that we know our guy is going to be here. And one thing that Dan Quinn showed, that he finds out what you're really good at, and then he really exposes and opens it up. So as I said before, everybody loves Dean, and I like Dean a lot too. But if we miss him, please, Cowboys, look after this dude, because I think he could be a sniff for us if you scoop him.
Yeah, I'm mad that I made that video. Now I know you didn't see that and start thinking about him, but either way, Shannon Tyndale, man, he's something, bro. I really do like that. And he's versatile. He's a guy you can put on the, with his hand in the dirt. Yes. And I think he would do just as well, to be honest. So he's definitely rough. What was it? Diamond in the rough.
Diamond in the rough. Yes.
Yeah, I'm getting too old for all this.
That's all right.
But Jake, and to kind of go back on what he said, to even go further, I think we keep saying this with the Nakobe Dean versus Devin Lloyd argument. You don't want to get somebody that you necessarily already have, you're good at, right? You want to get somebody that can, like I said, help your players do what they're good at. Alex Singleton's
Right.
good at passing the rushing the passer. Let's
Right.
get somebody that can sit back in coverage so that he can do that. So I think that's a little bit even, further on that answer. You don't want to just keep on getting the same guys, right?
Right.
But Jay Koch says, "What's up, guys? That 15th pick." I'm sure he's talking about the Eagles should be traded if they know they're not going to take the player we want. Do you agree? I think this can go for both of our teams, and I think. Look, I think you'd agree when I say this. I think you have to take the best value, whether that's a player
EPA.
or that's a draft pick next year. So I wouldn't say 15th. It would be hard for me to say that you can't find a guy at 15 if there's not a guy that you want at 15. I doubt that. I just doubt that there's not going to be talent there. Maybe the 19th, maybe your pick is a little bit more realistic. Do you think that it's a possibility that you trade out of the first round, try to get something next year? I don't think we will unless it's the 19th pick, but I don't know. Maybe it might be different for you because you're a couple picks behind, right?
Yeah, I'm going to go with that because we're the 24th pick and Cowboys have traded out of the lower picks, first round picks before. But as you said, there's enough talent in this draft where I feel like you don't have to do it. And even with Dallas at the 24th pick, unless, it went ridiculously, the cover just went bare by 24, which I just don't believe that's going to happen. I feel like a lot of people that we think are going to go where they're projecting now, it never is that. You feel me, Joe? It's never what they say. It's never what they project. You know what I mean? They'll project this and that. Only ones that are usually guaranteed are like the first top pick, first two or three picks. Yeah. Other than that, it's a guessing game, so anything can happen. But as you said before, if it's a 15th pick with this talent in this draft, I don't think you're going to have to trade that pick at all because you're going to find what you need, especially if you're the Eagles. There are players that you can say, we can plug this guy in right now and he can play for us right now. So I definitely wouldn't see you guys moving off. I could see Dallas maybe doing it, but I think there's still enough talent in this draft on the 24th pick that the Cowboys can still feel good about scooping up somebody. So in essence, to answer your question, Mr. Jay Koch, that I think that staying here, you can trade it, but from the both of our perspective, there's enough good players in this draft to stay where you're at.
Yeah, it's going to be hard pressed. I would really have to look. There would have to be some crazy, because I think there's 20 good players in this draft. I'll say that. I think that the top 20 guys are guys that will come in and give you instant impact. So it's going to be hard for me to really drop out of that top 20. Shout out to Carlos Holloway, says BGJ. If we get Dean, this is too many acronyms. If we get Dean, do you think LVE is gone? Because we're getting Jabril Cox coming back.
I still think they will. I think they like LVE. You know what I mean? I just feel like they do. And I feel like they're going to still offer him. I don't think they're not going to try to offer him something, but I feel like it's not going to be something that he's going to get on the open market. LVE is going to have a market. He's only like 25 years old. He has good size. He played good toward the end of the year. And one of the things I think people are seeing, I think that's why LVE is not probably going to come back, is that once the Cowboys got Neville Gallimore back in the middle, he was playing a lot of the one-tech stuff in that run, and you've seen LVE playing better. So when he was kept clean and he could actually go in there and make those plays when he was kept clean, he started making plays and he's a pretty good in coverage. So I just think LVE is going to get a bigger market anyway than what the Dallas Cowboys are going to offer. That's why I feel like the Cowboys need to attack linebacker. And I said it over a month and a half ago, they're going to have to attack that because I feel like LVE is going to be like, yeah, I like you guys, but why would I take hometown discount when I can make some more money elsewhere and play? So I don't think he's going to do that. So I think if they were to grab Dean, yes, LVE will be gone.
That would be interesting. Now Zonated Jim says, hey, Joe, I want to hear your trade offer for Ridley.
I wouldn't take Ridley.
You wouldn't take Ridley? I don't know where I am.
I know he's good, but I'm going to keep it real, and I'm not hating on anybody with mental health. I've dealt with those issues myself, but that's hard to trust from me. That's hard for me to trust as a owner and a team that somebody who sat out like that to throw money and trade picks for him, because what if it comes up again and he says, I don't want to play football no more? You get what I mean? To me, I heard people saying in there for Calvin Ridley, but I'm not offering no kind of high draft picks for him, no matter how good he is, because of what happened before. And I would be paranoid that it could happen again.
Yeah. I've been hearing like around a second, third round pick is what they're probably going to be looking for in that trade, just because he did sit out. Honestly, I don't know. The reason why I say I don't know, I agree with what you're saying. I'm going to be 100% honest, but the reason why I say I don't know is because you want to have that little bit of hope, right? Because he's liking
Right.
tweets saying he's going to get back with his boy Devontae Smith, and
Right.
Hurts is there, and you hope that maybe they have a connection there, that they all are
Right.
friends, and you hope maybe that helps. But it's almost like a ticking time bomb. We don't necessarily know what it is that set him off. So how do we know if we're not going to be the same situation?
Exactly.
It's tough. It's really tough because we would love to have a number 2 there, or a number 1 there, and be able to have 2 great wide receivers, in my opinion, 2 great young wide receivers. But if I was to trade for him, just to play devil's advocate, I would try and throw that third. If they took the third, let's do it. You know what I'm saying? I'm down.
I really don't want to do that
second
second though. I don't want to do that second.
Yeah, and I'm not getting into a bidding war. You have to pay him. You have to, obviously give up that draft capital, and you got to worry about his, and I hate to say it like that, but you also have to worry about his.
It's real though. It's real though. This is, we can't act like it's not real. And if you're an owner or you're a team, and that has happened to a player or anybody, you would still be leery of that, because that's something that's serious. And if you step away from that before, how do I know that you wouldn't step away again with a certain trigger, like you said, of a trigger of an incident where you say, you know what, I just don't think I want to do this. Then you're out salary, then you're out draft picks. So like you said, I wouldn't do a second for him. I wouldn't get in a bidding war with him. I would do a third, and that would be it with me.
All right. And Carlos has some good questions. I don't know. Maybe his questions are the only ones I'm seeing. Nobody else's comment looks like it's worded like a question. So I don't really know if it's questions or they just statements. But either way, Carlos says, is there any player that y'all absolutely don't want? Like if one of our teams takes a certain player, we're going to go riot at the owners. Mine's is easy. Quarterback, y'all. Quarterback. That's what I mean. That's it.
If the only position I would say would be running back. If you draft a running back like in the first round, I'd be like, what the hell are you doing? That don't make no daggone sense. Or even like a tight end. If you drafted a tight end really high, I would be mad. Because I don't see any difference making tight ends in this draft. Some good ones, decent ones, but no difference making. So if you drafted a tight end high, I don't even have a name. But if you went and got a tight end, I don't even think absurdly you would do a running back. But if you did a tight end because of the situation with Dalton Schultz, possibly going with free agency, Blake Jarwin, he's injury prone. But if you hit a tight end real early, like a first or even a second, yes, I would be very angry and pissed.
Yeah, for me, it really is just quarterback, just because I don't feel like hearing that. And I don't feel like any of these guys are number 15 worthy. I don't think if you get somebody in the second round, I probably would laugh and just be like, this is going to be a fun couple years. But if you get somebody in the first round, I'll just be pissed because you just wasted a draft pick. Like, we need so many things. I can live with almost anything. Like, I really can. I can almost live with you getting a wide receiver, even though I don't think that's our biggest need. I can deal with, a cornerback, a safety, anything on defense. I'm cool with it, and almost anything on offense. But we just be true to your own words. We said we're going to give Jalen Hurts the year. At least just don't draft a guy in the first round that's going to, because there's nobody in this, even if Kenny Pickett fell to us at 15, I don't feel comfortable enough doing that. I just don't. Not right now. I don't think he's that good.
No first round pick.
Yeah, it's just not worth it to me. You're going to get somebody that's going to battle Jalen Hurts at best. That's in my opinion. You're going to get somebody that's going to fight him in training camp. Whether, Hurts loses or he wins, that battle is up in the air, in my opinion, depending on who it is. But why even do that? If it's not a surefire guy that's going to bring you to the next level, don't even waste your time. Don't waste my draft picks, because those are mine now. You know what I'm saying? Those are my draft. I take ownership. All the film that we're going to be watching over the next couple of months, those are our picks now, right? Like, we did the work for this. So I don't know. That's really it for me. I could see why you say running back too. I would be mad if we took a running back as well, because I don't think there's anybody really even slated to go in the top 20 as far as running backs go. I could be wrong. But nobody's really jumped off the board to me. So I would be kind of pissed about that too. Just don't waste them. Get somebody that's going to be good for you. You know what I'm saying? Don't waste these. Don't try to be too smart. That's the biggest deal with the Eagles. We always want to be the smartest people in the room. Always want to be, that guy. So just be normal, man. If he's at number 15 on your draft sheet and he's available, take him. Like, it's okay. You can do that.
Right.
I don't know, man.
I just feel like, the running back, they've shown time and time again you don't have to draft a running back early. You can get a running back late, and they can still do the daggone thing. So
Exactly.
that's not a thing. And tight ends, I don't say they grow on trees, but you can find a tight end. You don't have to overdraft, and unless he's a difference-making tight end, you don't jump out and do that. I don't care what Dalton Schultz and them are doing. So those would be the only two positions I would really just be up in arms if they did anything like that.
Yeah, tight end, like you said, they don't grow on trees, but tight end is a position that is just becoming crowded. I think like every year there's like a couple different tight ends that come out that are just uber athletic, good blockers. They're just built different now. This isn't 10 years ago where the guys only block in college. Now these guys are like big parts of their offense. So it's nice to see the change in the philosophy and the growth of these guys. I mean, look, we said it in the beginning of the show, so it's a nice little tie-in to bring it all together. It's going to be a whole new NFL next year. It really is. Even if Tom Brady does come back for another year, like you're going to see a changing of the guards, changing of teams. You know what I'm saying? The top teams might not still be the top teams next year. So I'm excited. It starts with this draft, and we shall see what happens, man. I really don't even know what I have no idea what's going to happen this year because everybody's asking about like different quarterbacks, and I don't think any of these guys are that good. I know Dink Burrito's been high on Sam Howell. I don't think
none of these guys are like jumping out to me, so don't do it.
Yeah, I feel like if you talk about Sam Howell, he's the only person that was supposed to be here in the beginning of the year. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he was the guy that they all thought would be drafted in the first round. But other than that, you're looking at Malik Willis from Liberty. You're looking at, a bunch of guys.
That's just a lot of potential. It's not nothing like he's coming in and doing it right now. It's just a lot of potential. So don't jump out there and do that.
Exactly. There's questions about a lot of people out here, man. But yeah. Is there anything you want to say? How do you want to close this out? I don't even know how we should close this show out. I mean,
let's just close it out. Like, make sure you tune in next week. We'll have our dual channels up and popping. That's going to be fun and interesting. We'll have a Cowboys on one side, the Eagles on one side. You can mix and match and jump in out however you want. I thought we had a good time today. Rewind this tape if you didn't before. Go check out our picks because when we gave our first 3 picks, I think I liked his picks. I liked Joe's picks, and I feel like he liked my picks. And go back and rewind those, and we're going to be going through some more tape, and it's going to get better. Next weekend, actually, I will be at the Senior Bowl, so that's going to be good. So I forgot to mention that. So that's how we can definitely close it. Next week, I'll be at the Senior Bowl. I'm leaving Friday. I'll be up there Friday, Saturday, and I'll probably leave Saturday night. So I'll be back in time for us to do our show, and you'll be able to get some good tape that we'll be able to drop on the show as well. So you can look at some of the senior players that we were talking about that's going to be in this draft heading up. So excited about that. Make sure you tune in next week for the draft show and the draft tape, because we'll be having live stuff at that Senior Bowl courtesy of Big Game James, and you know how we do. Big Game James, Joe Castro, we're brothers.
I can't believe that still hasn't gotten tagged. I'm so happy that it hasn't. Like, we go ride it out. We go ride it out till it does, though, because that's like the best intro on YouTube right now. I don't care. I'm taking that claim. But like he said, next week is going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to actually being, and I'm sure I'm going to be doing videos during the days as well, kind of looking at what's going on from my area. But it'll be nice to recap that Sunday. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. And I appreciate everybody that's tuned in, man. We still got 30 people in here. Be sure to hit that like, hit that subscribe if you haven't already. But definitely go over to Big Game's channel. I can't talk. Big Game James channel. Show that love. Hit that subscribe. His link is in the description, man. And yeah, till next time, I guess. I like to do the Fly Goes Fly, but I got to figure out a different outro for this one because I feel mean, but it is on my channel still. So I guess I'm gonna do Fly Goes Fly.
Go ahead, because go ahead. It's all right. You can play that Fly Goes Fly. We know y'all ain't flying nowhere.
Now y'all know what it is, man. Y'all know what it is. Fly Goes Fly, and we are out here. Peace.
We're brothers, we're happy and we're